Hi, this is DM Shelby Montez, also known as Non-Mimic Productions, and today is another episode of Other Side of the Table. And on Other Side of the Table, today we will be covering a dear character to mine that have taught me a very harsh lesson as a player, Minerva Hellborn. The famed and well-trained zombie hunter for the vampire aristocrat in the game Jane Eyre and Zombies, run by DM Chantal. In this world, vampires are the ruling class, and then an outbreak of zombies has occurred, the one thing that can kill them. So what do? They take a bunch of orphans, put them in an orphanage school run by a really jerk of a dean vampire, and train them from the day they are there, no matter how young, to kill zombies, and then serve them. Minerva Hellborn, along with her two adopted brothers in the orphanage, become one of those. For, as you can guess, a Mr. Rochester character, as this is called Jane Eyre and Zombies, and plays up very much those tropes and those story beats. I played the eldest daughter out of all of them, so I was the eldest sibling. My second sibling was the middle child who had a cursed sword that was also his mother, that also wanted to eat me. And then we had our youngest brother who became the bane of our existence, but also the only reason I think I have survived this game. Minerva she has a very cool backstory. She is supposedly part of this great race of people that have this magical blood because of the love of their goddess, that the vampires originally raced them all out because they wanted to eat them. And she's the last of her kind with magical blood, and thus is a blood hunter. And you would think that would leave for a lot of cool moments. Well, I'm here to tell you how Minerva taught me how to fail as a player, and without dying all the way. So what do I mean by fail? I mean there were sessions I did not roll above a 3. I think our last session I died twice, could not heal enough, and then I took 40 damage like in the first 5 minutes of the game. And every time I try to do like a badass moment, it somehow ends in me dead and desperate for my brothers to help me. As a player, you can think that can be really frustrating, right? You're constantly getting beaten down, you can't get back up, and yeah, I got frustrated at times, and there are times where you think like, God, is this like, am I tripping? Is it not fair? Is it me? And then you take a step back. You remember the story. The story will go on without you. You are a big part of the story, especially as DMs. We always want our characters to be big parts of the story. And I'm sure my DM did not want me constantly dying when she had such cool story arcs for me. But the dice don't lie, and it's very tempting to fudge a roll just to keep in the game. Let me tell you why failing can also be really interesting. With Minerva, I had a big learning curve. I had never played a blood hunter in my life. I played a warlock, which they're kind of based on, but I had never in my life actually played a blood hunter, and there is so much bonus actions. Oh my god, I was so, how does it work? I think I ended up taking like a blood hunter that was more akin to like a cleric, because I had a lot of like radiant spells and a celestial contract and all this stuff. There was so much, and I could not figure out how it worked for the longest time. I was struggling through it, which resulted in some funny rolls that ended up I lost my leg. At first, failing was kind of fun because in this game, DM Chantal made this brilliant sheet where every time we fail the roll while fighting a zombie, we could get bit, get infected, or get bit and have to cut off the limb. Minerva, at the point of the game we are in right now, has lost her leg the first episode, lost her eye the second episode, burnt half of her scalp off in the third episode. In the fourth episode, she lost her arm and her humanity because she got bit by the queen of vampires, the original bloodline, and was now a vampire. Our favorite joke at the point was how much could Minerva lose before it was no longer Minerva. And at first I kind of liked that I was losing limbs because it kind of built her character, made her more scary. What I didn't like was when I was pretty much useless in battle. This character was meant to be the tank. I was supposed to take all the hits for my brothers. You know who was the most useful in this game? The Artificer. who stood back and shot from afar. I was always up close, would get dogpiled on by like 3 to 4 zombies because I failed consistently, and then would get bit, broken, almost murdered, and I think I've died. Oh my god, I think I've died like 5 times in this campaign. And thank god the artificer had Revivify, which is the youngest brother. And I had such cool story beats. There was this wonderful romance that I had with the gardener of the family we were serving. And then I danced him, and then I lost him. And then part of it was I kind of lost him because of how weak I was. Looking at the character, I realize now I made some mistakes. For one, I chose for story purposes to not give her armor because the school was an orphanage that didn't really care about us. So I only put her in a maid outfit in respect to my favorite anime, Black Lagoon. That made my AC incredibly low for the tank. But I've never had issues with rolling until today. I think some of my players got really mad because I think I'd get every single bad roll out while I was playing as Minerva. So then I would go to DM, I'd have amazing rolls back to back. But those failures turned out making an incredible story with Minerva. Minerva is not dumb. She's not weak. She's earnest. And her earnesty and her want to protect those who she loves makes her want to jump in battle first, which means she is reckless with herself. So when I would fail those rolls and get attacked and be always near death, or be near the point where I wouldn't be coming back, I'd get frustrated because I want her to be cool. I want her to be badass. I put so much time and energy into her. But that's not the story the dice wanted to tell. And, like I said before, if I wanted to control everything, I need to write a book. And here the dice were telling me the story, and I wasn't telling them the story. She failed. She floundered. She got broken. She got beaten. She's almost died every campaign, permanently. She has died. We've used so many Revivify to bring me back. But even with failing, she always got back up. She always had the love of her brothers in the roleplay we did, and that kept her going. That kept some of the most crazy decisions. Minerva is supposed to be this badass, really not unwantingly, she's this badass character that only wants to be there for her brothers. She has nothing from life. She has no family. She has nothing. She's a poor kid from an orphanage. All she has is her 2 brothers. With failing, I discovered what I had accidentally made her to be. Someone that would give up the world to be with her brothers. And that's what's made her story so good now, even though I still cannot roll high. I think we did a special episode, not even like last week. I failed literally all those. I got 1 nat 20. 1 nat 20. And even then I was getting my ass kicked for hours. I think the first 5 minutes I took 40 damage. Then we almost drowned me. And then we went to the chamber and then took an additional, I was living on 6 HP for most of that final boss battle. And then I died, and then my brother had to bring me back, and then I almost died again. It was a rough go. And I got really frustrated. I did. I got so frustrated at some point because no matter what I did, no matter how I tried to help, I was a hindrance to the other players. I couldn't get her to roll high. And I was so frustrated as a player. But then I took a step back. And I realized her story is so much richer because she fails. Minerva fails all the time, but you can't say she's not loyal. You can't say that she doesn't put herself in danger to help others. You can't say that her missions have not been successful because she has the others. And she recognizes that she can be vulnerable, she can be helpless, but she can rely on others. So, I bet your big question is, why should a player be okay failing all the time? Even when it doesn't result in death. Because then you can't get rid of the character because they haven't died. Many of us want to make these characters that have great storylines. And as good DMs, we should help bring those storylines to fruition. But sometimes we forget about the other variable, the dice. And they will give you a healthy dose of reality that you don't have everything under control, neither player nor DM. Minerva taught me that failing could be just as fun as succeeding on my rolls. I love that she is the ship of Theseus. Every part of her body has been replaced because she lost it, sacrificing herself for the one she loved, even when I could never get the rolls. I love that there is a gimmick where we scream, brother, sister, every time one of us gets hurt. And it's usually me, so there's a constant sister every time I have eaten and I'm on the ground. There are also times where Minerva will insert herself when she doesn't need a help. The reason she became the vampire queen was because she saw her brother getting lifted by this ugly vampire queen. She's a giant, she was a hideous bat. Props to Chantel for that artwork, because oh my god, we were all went, oh, we even sang "Oh Holy Queen, God Save the Queen," the vampire queen. Oh, DM Chantel is fantastic. I am in love with all of her stories. She's a great friend too. But Minerva, and of course I checked with the other players. I didn't want to steal someone's moment. And I checked with the player, which happens to be Goblin number 2. And I was like, hey, she's going to see you, and she's going to see her brother in trouble, her youngest brother in trouble. She's going to jump in. And we confirmed with each other. He said, yeah, that sounds like her. I don't need it. And she's probably, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to mess it up. And I did. And that was the one time, after all of Minerva's failures, after losing her arm, after all this stuff, she rolled a nat 20 when she bit the queen on 2 HP. I was going to die. And I brought myself back to life, because it was a weird choice. Because when you fail, and you have a great DM, the choices you make can be infinitely more interesting. And that resulted in a great storyline about Minerva and becoming one with the vampire, renouncing her goddess, having to beg her goddess for help because she lost her powers, because she became an abomination. So then I was already 0 for 0 at this point. 0 for 0. When I lost my powers because my goddess was mad at me, meant nothing to me. We just kept going. I got frustrated. Sometimes I'd get irritated because I'd really want something to work, but it couldn't. But failing overall has made a much more interesting story. And just because your character's not working out, maybe you're not feeling them quite as well as you wanted them to. If it's just because you're not rolling good, or the mechanics are a little bit more different than you hoped for, this is the chance it can work. Maybe give them a little bit more longer. With that, thanks for watching about how I failed as a blood hunter. See you next time on Other Side of the Table. Bye, guys.